Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Thanks for everyone that subscribed. I finally hit 1,000 subscribers. And in YouTube, that's a big deal because you can finally monetize your channel if you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I had the watch hours a while back. I'm up over 5 now, and finally got 1,000 subscribers. And as promised, I'm going to peel the Plasti Dip off of the 73 Nova. Okay, before we get to peeling, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I Plasti Dipped this car. The paint has started bubbling up in several spots, pretty much anywhere there was filler. When I originally did all the body work, apparently I got some moisture into my filler before I ever painted it. Actually, a friend of mine sprayed the paint in the clear. It was expensive paint, and I didn't want a chance having to buy it twice because I don't know what I'm doing. But I'd done all the body work, and it sat in primer for a long time, probably a year or so, and then finally got the paint on it, and that was a problem. So ended up with some rust bubbles coming up all over the car, anywhere there was filler that had sucked in moisture. So after about 7 years, the bubbles got so bad to where they weren't that, they were pretty obvious. So anyway, I decided I was going to paint the car, and then I didn't have enough time before we went to the Daytona Turkey Run, and then my niece was getting married, and she wanted me to drive her off in this car. So I figured something temporary that I could easily remove and get back to my paint to fix it was Plasti Dip. I had seen some of the videos of Dip Your Car on YouTube, and I figured, what the heck, I'll try it. And it's 600 bucks. I could have bought cheap paint for the same, but the cheap paint wouldn't have been easy to get off. Not as easy as this, I hope. Let's find out. Now, I didn't wash this car. It's been sitting in the shop for a few days. I've pushed it out a couple of times while I'm working on the 69 and on Nova. So it's fairly dirty. But that's one thing with this Plasti Dip, it gets dirty pretty easy. You can see a few spots. There's some, a few places a little drop of oil or something got on there, carpet cleaner or something got on there, and it changes the color a little bit. This stuff is not very solvent resistant. They do make a dip coat armor now that's supposed to fix all that, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But I wouldn't put it on there for mine just because I want it to be easier to remove, and maybe that doesn't stop you from being easier to remove, but we're going to try. Now, supposedly you can just grab a corner, kind of peel it up, and it'll start peeling off. If you put enough of this stuff on here, it peels easy. And I don't know if it's easy or not so easy, but the idea is that a lot of people complain about it peeling off or coming off in little pieces. They didn't spray a lot on here. There's 5 gallons of this Plasti Dip on this car, 3 in the base coat and 2 of the color coat. So we're going to try to get a spot going, and what I think is going to happen is I think the big spots are going to be easy, and then the edges where the overspray went in, I'm probably going to have to take some solvent and clean that off. So since I've got fingernails, there we go. I'm going to try to get a big piece going so I can peel it off. You can see that pretty blue paint I got underneath. Alright, I think that's focused in. Let's see how good this comes off. Man, I have missed that color blue. Well, so far it's coming off pretty easy. If the whole car is like that, I'll be all right. It's coming off in bigger pieces, like I hope. I was worried I was going to be peeling little small pieces, and I may still have to do that once I get inside of the jams and around the trim and stuff like that. It may still be a pain, but so far it hasn't been. And I probably should have taken it out and washed it before I got it in here to video for you guys, but I wanted to go ahead and get it off. All right, so you can get an idea of what the blue looked like. And the fenders look great. I think both fenders were fine. The trunk lid was fine. Everything else had something somewhere on it. The roof, both doors, both quarters, and the hood all had some kind of blemish on it. So you can see where some of the sanding I did to smooth stuff out. All right, let's peel some more. But I know some of you guys have talked about doing this yourself. Your car is a primer or the paint's not good. I had primer right here where I fixed there was a really bad spot, and I didn't know if the Plasti Dip was going to stick to it because it was bubbled up and flaking off. So I fixed it and put primer on it. I had no trouble at all getting the Plasti Dip off that primer, and it had no trouble sticking to it. Now that's pretty smooth, but I think I had 800 or 1000 grit on there to make it smooth, but Plasti Dip on primer, at least in this one little instance right here, was not a problem. All right, half the car is peeled now, and it took me right at an hour. So now I did get the drip rail. I did get all the trim on the side. Let's go show you that. What I did not get was like in between the door where there's overspray in the door. You know, I didn't get all of that. It's too thin to peel off. I didn't get the little bit that's going to be in here, and I didn't get the little bit that's going to be inside the side of the hood. And I still got to get inside the cowl. Now these came off, these little strips came off pretty easy, but I figured I'd peel it down the middle, split it down the middle so you can see the color difference. And you can see a few spots. It's dirty, but you can see a few spots where I don't know if the camera's going to show that or not, but there's some little spots here where something got on it, and it shows dirt pretty easy. The Plasti Dip kind of shows dust really bad, but but yeah, overall I was very happy with it, and it worked like it was supposed to. Now I've got the whole car peeled, and it's 10 o'clock, so it took me an hour and a half. I started at 8:30. It took me an hour and a half, and I've still got some stuff around, like the in-between panels, door jambs, stuff like that, around some of the trim, inside the cowl panel. There's still the real thin spray that I can't peel. It just pulls off in little pieces. I'm going to take some solvent, spray on there, and wipe that off. It's real thin, and I tried a spot already. It shouldn't be difficult at all to get all that loose, so I'm not worried about it. I'll probably have another hour in cleaning up all the little small spots. So, but yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. I like my shiny blue paint. I wish it was shiny all over and didn't have all the little problems, but you know, the Plasti Dip served its time. Now, let's talk about Plasti Dip. All right, when I first decided to Plasti Dip this car, I posted it on, I did the video, I posted on one of the Nova groups on Facebook, and 98% of it was positive. The other 2% of it was pissed off. They didn't like it at all. How could you do that to a classic car? It's not a Honda, blah, 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 blah. Now, look, Plasti Dip has its place. It worked like it said it would work. So I didn't apply it completely great because I had some runs in there, but since it's a flat finish or a matte finish, they didn't show up that bad. So nobody noticed them until I pointed them out. Now, as far as why to do it, well, if you have nice paint, don't do it. It wouldn't make a lot of sense unless you're just desperate to change the color. It did not affect my paint at all. Now, it was on here for 9 months. I did it back in November. It's end of July now. And the last month and a half, it sat outside a pretty good bit during the sun. And it's been 105, 106 degrees a few days. So that's one reason it's so dirty, because it's been sitting outside some while I work on Franken Nova and on the 69 grudge car with the 307. But yeah, it's Plasti Dip is not for everybody. Certainly on older cars, there's issues that you don't have on a newer car, which is where most people use this stuff. The cowl vent, all the little pieces on there, it was a pain to strip. They came off easier than I thought they would, but it's a pain. There's a lot more nooks and crannies on older cars, whereas new cars, they've got rubber strips between the body panels, like the quarter panel goes all the way up to the roof and goes down. They don't have chrome trim around the windows. They don't have all this chrome trim. It's a lot of plastic, a lot of rubber molding in between. It's easy to tape off and separate, and it peels off in much larger sections. Whereas this, you've got all the door trim and window trim. It's a little bit more difficult to peel off. So I would imagine on a new car, it's probably easier to tape, and it's easier to pull off and without little places. It cost me about $600, and that's probably about what I could have spent on some cheap paint and repainted it. But I would have had to go in and, like I did with the hood when I tried to fix it, I had to sand it all the way down to metal because the bubbles I have coming up are rust. So I would have had to sand everything down and start over. So I would have had another $400 or $500 in primer at least. Even if I'd have went cheap, materials would have cost me around $1,000, and the amount of labor involved. So, and then if I wouldn't have done a good job on it, and it would have turned out crappy, I wouldn't have been happy with it, and fixing it would have been much more difficult. So that's why I decided to Plasti Dip, so that I could hopefully peel it off. And I was right, it peeled off as easy as they describe it should. Like I said, and I think the key there is you have to apply enough material to make sure it's got enough thickness to peel off. Because in the areas between the panels, the door jambs, stuff like that, it's not peeling off. It's real thin. Let's see if you can see something here. Like right here, it won't peel off, but it will rub off. So just the overspray on there got it. But so yeah, I'm happy with it. Now, I'm also going to do a video about monetizing my channel, because it took me 9 months to get 1,000 subscribers, at least 4,000 hours of watch time, and now monetized. So I'm pretty happy about it. Now, look, I don't expect the money truck to back up at all, but it's an achievement. It's pretty cool. And my primary business is an air conditioning business that I own, and that keeps me plenty busy, which is why I'm inconsistent posting videos. But my therapy is coming out here and working on all these junk Novas I got. And if you guys can learn something from it or just enjoy watching me do it, so be it. And thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching the videos. And if you don't want to care about the monetized stuff, then when I post that video, just ignore it. But if you have a YouTube channel, I'm going to talk about what I did that helps, what I did that did not work, what I did that was a waste of money, and stuff that actually hurt my channel. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you next video.